In this last video, we'll be solving this last one: Postman integration and handling post with patch requests here. So with these two, right? Yeah, we will actually be deploying our database to the cloud first. Yeah, I don't want us to test. Okay, let's test on our local server first. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Postman, their official website. So download the Postman version from architecture using Windows. Yep. So this is it. I'll now download it. Wait. Alright, so mine is done installed. So mine is done downloading, so I'm going to install it. I'm just rolling out to install software. So, I'm just going to continue from here. So downloads, programs, apples, and over here. So yeah, because some people will pop for me to install the result for me to install. Alright, I'm always continue with it. Okay, so after you open it manually here, just don't pop out, you click open. Okay. So redirect you to Postman. So this is the interface of Postman. So once it loads, I think I'll be forwarding this video. Let's open it. Alright, so it's done installing. So I'm going to minimize this. Close this. Yeah, close this. Alright, so since you're done installing Postman, what we are going to do is that we'll go into our test editor, right? Yeah, and I'll be using VS Code. So to test your APIs, right? Before you do that, you know that that's this question. You're going to handle post to and patch requests, right? Yes. So Postman is for testing these APIs. So you create this and then use Postman to test them. Right. So to create this one, you have to create an endpoint, right? To create an endpoint, you can use Node or Express to create a server, right? Yeah. But what I'll be using is Python. So I'll be using Flask, right? Flask is a Python library for creating server-side applications. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, right? Yeah. Aromas over here. So since I have aromas, I won't be creating anymore. So I'll just create a new file and I'll name it server.py. Okay, I'm gonna name it app.py. Normal Flask mentioned, right? But before that, you must have the Flask installed, right? So it's a live. So to install it, what you do is you type pip, then bring this up a little bit. So you see, I'll have to come out of the Python, so exit. Now out. So what I type is pip install Flask, right? And what Flask, the reason I chose Flask is that with Flask routing, request, and all those stuff is much simpler for me. Yeah, so I'm sure it's much simpler for you as well. With each request, you can specify a function for that request, and for each function, you can specify a particular request that can actually access that function. Yeah, and that's really good. Yeah, so it's over here. I'm not going to start all over. I made AI generate a simple skeleton for us. This is not a valid. It's valid though, but it's not something that you should be using for your presentation because it's very, very simple. So over here, if you deploy it more this one Atlas, right, you can replace it with your URL. I'll be doing that in a sec. So what you should take note is that this function gets products, gets all the list of the products that we have in our database. Yeah, and if I was to bind this function to this request method, you use this thing over here, app.route, right? And you specify that whenever there is a request to this URL, and then it's a get request, you should execute this function, right? Yeah. So to define your project, I advise that you maybe get yourself acquainted with JSON and Flask a little bit. You don't need to be advanced in it here. So this is the same thing. This for get request, this for post request. If you're getting something, it means you're trying to take some time, get something from the server. So if I want something, I send a get request to this endpoint. It means I actually want to get a list of all the products over here. Yeah. And also, if I send a post request, right, to an endpoint, it means maybe I want to put something over there. I want to store something, right? Yeah. So if you're logging into your website, that's a post request because you're sending your login details, and then the page that will return to you will be a get response. So this one over here, this post that you see over here is actually trying to say that you're sending something to the server you want it to be sent to this endpoint. When it gets to this endpoint, this function will be executed. So the message that you get at the end will be JSON form, which is the product has been added successfully. Yeah, and also the delete. If you want to delete something, you have to specify an ID. That's what has been done over here. So you specify the endpoint and then the parameter that you want to give to it, and also this function will be executed when a delete request is sent to this endpoint. So we also have patch, right? If you want to update something, that's where you use the patch. So over here you can see that it's similar to this one, but what differs from them is the request methods. And you can specify the methods over here using this thing. This method is equals and specify the method. So the same endpoints, but it has different methods that I can take care of. So we are trying to update something and have this over here. And also, if you want to run your Flask appliance, so you must have Flask installed. And because in the previous video I guided you guys installing MongoDb, that's why PyMongo, that's why I didn't install PyMongo. So if you haven't done that, you must also have PyMongo installed, right? Yeah, you can check the previous video. You guys just install it again. Pip install PyMongo. This won't work if you don't have Python installed. So take I already have PyMongo. So if I want to run my app, right, what I'll do is I'll type Python and then app.py. Where am I? Sorry. So I'll save my file. I haven't saved it. That's why I use nothing. So Python app.py. I run the Python app.py. You can see this URL over here. This is currently the URL that this one is being hosted on. So I'll click this URL and it says URL not found. If you enter the URL manually, please check your spelling. Yeah. So let me try something out and see. Yep, it's an endpoint. So this is what is returned. So you can see that when I sent a request, this was a GET request that I sent, right? Because I just placed it over there. So it's therefore it sends a GET request. And what was executed was that it's got the list of all the product that was inside it. That's why you see products.find everything here. Then it comes. So that's why when I said I install this one, like there's nothing over there. But when I added the / install this because I do not have an index page. It's a server something. So with this, what you're going to do is that you're not going to use the browser to test it directly. So what you're going to do is you go to Postman, right? Yeah, and inside Postman over here. Since I said Postman for testing URLs, I can type the name of the URL, the URL of the URL. What am I saying? 107.0.0. That's your local host /. Flask runs on ports I think 5,000. Yeah, it runs on ports 5,000 as you can see over here, 5,000. So colon 5,000, and then I'll send a GET request to this endpoint product because I have only one collection that I created as well. So this is a GET request. I can set the request methods over here. So I'll send this, and then you see that. Sorry, 5,000, not 500. So 5,000 sent, and then you see the results that it will bring. It will be JSON data. So let's wait. When you see this 200 OK over, it means the request was successful. So you can see the output. We have category, which is a very this thing was in our database. I hope you remember. Yeah. So all that has been really brought. So let's say I want to delete something that has let's see how the delete works. So over here, let me bring this one down. Over here, when it comes to the delete section, where the delete section over here, you say it takes products and then a product ID, right? Yeah, and we know our product ID from our previous works. It begins with P00 something. If I'm correct, sorry. Yeah, P001, P002. So I'm going to delete a product with P001. So if I check inside Postman, you see that the first one I had didn't return the product ID. So P001 is likely to be Milk or Milo from our previous video. Yeah. So I'm going to perform a delete request, right? So the same URL, and then I'll change this to delete. And since I'll provide an ID P001, so I'll send. If you delete successfully, it will send me a JSON response that it was deleted successfully. It will send me this product deleted successfully, right? Yes, so let's try that. And you can see whatever request that we make, right? Inside our terminal, you can see it says a GET request was made to this side. That was the first thing I did. Now we're going to make a delete request to it. So when I run this, right, and I send, yeah, it says product deleted successfully. And when I come back over here, not here. When I come back to my URL, my text editor, you can see over here it says a delete request was sent over here 200, which means it's completed successfully. So now I'm going to test everything. I've tested GET, delete, and then patch. Let's try to update something, right? So update also takes an ID as well. So back to Postman, and then product, the same thing, but just since there's nothing that has an ID of 00 because I've deleted the 00, anything with 00, so patch. I'm going to update something. Once I update, first let's see what we have. Sorry, I made a mistake. Yes, you're going to see what's inside our database so we know how to make change. So I'm sure this will be 00 to P00 to P00. It's either this one or this one. So I'm going to make changes. I'm going to change one of them to let's say I'm going to change the name to maybe what should I change it to? Cowbell. So I'm going to change this to patch. Come here, and then the same product. I'll specify P00 to.
Let's see. I think the name did a post. Let's see how the post is supposed to respond. So over here, I think the first one was posted. Yeah. If it puts a post, if you give a post request to the server, you should receive this message. I'm sure this one will receive an error. That's curious. I don't know how to fix it. Uh, let's see. Alright. So from the ones that we've tried out with, yeah, that's the basics of it. So you can go online, check how to fix those errors, and do the same thing as we did for the I think get and then the delete as well. The get and then the delete. Get and delete.